Loading up, ready to go. INnoVation versus SortOf here for ya. ZVT. Haven't had one of these today. I love this matchup. It is by far the most favorite matchup, at least of my YouTube subscribers, and I kind of feel like the StarCraft 2 fan base at large.
I think it's just accepted that TvZ is the best. No one can argue against it. It's humans versus aliens. What more can you want? Anyway, the map is Cyber Forest, spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map. It is Reciprocity Gaming's INnoVation.
And spawning in the top left, the blue Zerg player. His name is SortOf.
Yeah, I believe SortOf's still on Team Cascade. I want to see. I'll do a double check of that.
I feel like he's bounced a bit.
According to his wiki, he still is on Team Cascade.
Alright, perfect.
Okay, SortOf though. He was waiting around a little bit. Big thanks to all the players, by the way. Just some of them have had to be swapped around a little bit, so there's some waiting in between their games and stuff. So it's very appreciated how they're all very patient and professional. But SortOf, he's ready to go.
If the spawning pool is any indication, then yes, he is.
Yeah, he's just going for it. That is an early pool.
It is, and this is really just intended to put some pressure on INnoVation's one Rax expand, which he's not SCV scouting out of. So he doesn't know that SortOf has the early pool. At this stage, all he can really do is keep the Reaper at home. If he sends the Reaper out, doesn't see the Lings that are coming, he's going to get a big delay on his natural base, and that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
So I just, if you're going to be a Terran in the situation, either send an SCV out to scout or keep the Reaper at home. You cannot go blind with that Reaper out across the map.
Absolutely. This is an unknown Zerg too. INnoVation, Korean players and foreigners, they're not always familiar with each other. So INnoVation, does he really know how SortOf plays? I'm willing to bet no. And versus a Zerg, you don't know what's going to do. You're going to want to play it safe. And does INnoVation do so? Okay, look at that Reaper.
He's scouting the right direction, but he's...
Does he go across the map, though?
He's checking... I don't know. Does he feel safe?
Perfect.
Wow. He just checked the outside, and now the Lings... I don't know. This is more Lings than you usually see. This is not the 4. This is 6.
Yeah,
and that's definitely a pause.
That is very nice for him. A nice delay on that command center.
Ooh, man. I mean, the wall is down, but this Reaper can kill all of these slow Lings forever. Nice way to set it up here.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, wow. No SCVs died. Delay on the construction of that natural base, but that's it. Not too shabby, INnoVation. That's why you're scary, man.
Yeah. SortOf is a very good European Zerg player, but after having that shut down so hard, you gotta be like, oh man, this is
I'm in trouble. Yeah. I cannot believe that INnoVation held that as well as he did against 6 Lings. I mean, keeping the Reaper home was the key, obviously. He does scout the third base, SortOf trying to catch up economically a little bit here. Hellions cruising on out. Going to force some Lings out, or maybe the Queens are going to have to deal with this, but traditional little Reaper to Hellion pressure coming on in about 3.5 minutes, and the Queens...
Grenade gets tossed. Good body block for SortOf as best as he can. However, he doesn't have a single Ling out since he didn't want to make any more after taking that early hit to his economy from the early pool. And now he's got to pull drones versus a Hellion and a Reaper. He's only going to lose two.
That was totally worth it. SortOf's fine.
Yeah, that went surprisingly well as far as Hellions and a Reaper running rampant in your base goes. Well handled by SortOf.
Killing the first Hellion was really key there, too.
Absolutely. Removed a lot of damage from it.
Yeah, 2 Hellions versus your worker line is horrifically bad. But 1, yeah, I think we're okay.
Now, INnoVation, though, continuing on with the counter-aggression here. Going to be moving on in with this Medivac. He's going to be unloading 4 Hellions into SortOf space, and you want to find dead space in order to get these unloaded safely, and that's exactly what INnoVation is going to find. SortOf, he's got his Lings on the ramp. It's only 10, though, versus 4 Hellions. The one Queen is going to have to do her best to help out here. The Lings are engaging onto the Hellions. They will push INnoVation back. Nicely done. 2 drones go down.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Yeah, man, those Lings were in great position. They engaged once everybody came onto the creep there. That was beautiful stuff.
Creep Tumor is going to be getting shut down by INnoVation, so getting a little bit here and there. Everything considered, though, as far as SortOf just macroing up behind this, he's doing everything right. these European Zergs, if you had to say one good thing and, you know, stereotype all European Zergs, they're very good at defending generally.
Yes. They've kind of got the Snoot thing going. A lot of queens.
When you play
lot
on the
of
same server
queens.
as Snoot, you're like, all right, that works. Let's do it.
Wow. So one queen goes down, but that's totally fine.
These Hellions getting on in here, though. These drones, they're running for their life.
Split.
Wow, Sort of Split is very good. He actually catches a few of the Hellions, bruises up a lot of them.
Got 3 of them. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and only 3 drones.
4. Oh, is he going to get all of these Hellions? Holy crap, dude.
Nicely done by SortOf. So he's taken a few drones, but every attack that INnoVation has gone for has really been on the bare minimum. As far as like what you'd expect is like, okay, Hellions run in, an okay amount of damage is, say, like, I don't know, just a couple of drones here and there at least. And
yeah.
INnoVation's just getting the bare minimum. SortOf's really doing a good job checking all the boxes here.
Yep, SortOf is defending about as well as you can expect here for a Zerg playing against INnoVation.
Absolutely.
He's continuing to pump those queens, as you can see them, working on 1-1 for his melee. So
yeah.
Lings and Banelings here, probably like a Ling Bling. I want to say we're going to go into Mutas based on that upgrade path, but could catch us by surprise here. Just go maybe for some Hydras. At this stage, though, if you're still going on Ling and Baneling, I'm not sure what you can be expected to do against INnoVation. You gotta have something else. Oh, there's the lair. Oh, it's so late.
Yeah, it is late. I guess SortOf just wanted to be extra safe, and he is committing. So he is going to have to defend with a lot of these Lings and Banes. The queens that he's made so many of are going to help out with shutting down the anti-air. Or with shutting down the air units.
Yeah. So the queens come in, and that's a pickup and get out. That's too much anti-air here for the vac to survive.
Yeah,
and INnoVation
nice
gets
job
out.
by SortOf. Look at that. He's already on top of that medivac, making sure it can't unload. He is playing incredibly well, dare I say.
Yeah, he's keeping his bases alive. Sure, his tech's a little bit later than he wanted, but he's taking pretty much the minimum damage you can take from INnoVation. I want to say it's really unreasonable to expect no damage taken from Inno in the first 10 minutes of a ZVT, but this is exactly what you want.
Yeah, SortOf. He's been playing and training in Korea for a long time. He's been putting in the work. As far as the foreigners go,
yeah,
I think he's actually been the one who's stayed there the longest. Like, players have cycled in and out, staying in the team house, and SortOf's always a constant. That's why I've had him into a few of these events in the past, and he's always just such a great player to have on in. Now he's going to have to defend versus the push that's coming out of INnoVation. Just a couple of medivacs for starters. INnoVation snipes down 1 or 2 Banelings, but in the end, the drop does get sent back. The creep is getting respread immediately. Very nicely done.
Yeah, creep is so important in ZVT, especially just seeing where those drops are coming, where Marines are pushing in. Hellions show up as well, and SortOf is just rebuffing and rebuffing and rebuffing.
Few Lings running on by, they do get spotted. They also spot that medivac. And SortOf has gone for a Spire, like you said. It's a bit of a delayed.
There we go.
But he's doing this off the back of a great economy.
Yep, he's at 79 workers.
That's a lot.
He's gonna be able to make like 10 mutas here when that Spire pops.
He is.
Look at this.
Mutas, no sweat. Oh man, this is gonna be fantastic for SortOf. And then he's gonna have them to really assert his map control. He's currently just firing up 2 of them.
He is not responding to this drop because the engagement in the middle here is working with all of his APM is there, but the drop in the main base is pretty much unresponded to here. Some Lings come in a little bit late. Great positioning by these Marines. INnoVation does get up and get out. Couple drones go down, but nothing too major. Still at 78 workers, which is fine. And there are the 10 Mutalisks, and that drop is toast. I'm not sure if they know that yet.
Yeah, they're in trouble. Mutas really signal the end of the medivacs.
INnoVation knows what he's dealing with. He's making 3 Widow Mines at a time. He's working on additional upgrades for his bio. Third base of INnoVation in a lot of trouble here, though.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man, the SCV transfer. Wrong place, wrong time. Some of them do manage to escape. 5 SCVs down is not what you want to look at here. For INnoVation, engagement on the left side here, too, SortOf is swallowing up INnoVation's attempt at doing anything at this stage. This medevac is going to die.
Shutting down those Marines. And SortOf is staying back, of course, INnoVation. He's got a ton of Widow Mines, which requires a lot of finesse to deal with. So This stage of the attack is going to be very scary, but look at this. SortOf, he actually just comes on in with his mutas. He's going to eat a few Widowmine shots, but picks off a fair few SCVs while this is going on. Of course, INnoVation is pushing up towards the third base.
Go.
A lot of Widowmine hits going down on Banelings there. Meanwhile, there's a drop in the main base. SortOf is seeing to most of this, though. Widowmine's getting connections, but nothing major. The main story, though, is this third base under fire. SortOf's going to try and come to save it. Does he have enough, though? The mutas are coming on in, but there's not a lot of a buffer for him right now. SortOf, he's bringing home the rest of the mutas and going to engage into this with the few Zerglings remaining. Can he clean it up? It's going to be close. INnoVation has so much coming across the map, and suddenly the mutas fold, and GG gets called.
Wow, INnoVation. All of his attacks get rebuffed, rebuffed, rebuffed. The harassment doesn't do as much as he wants it to. He doesn't care. He responds perfectly to what SortOf is doing, comes in, pushes on that fourth base, kills it, and just wins major engagements with multi-pronged harass to take that game 1 victory. INnoVation. It's why he is possibly the best Terran player on Earth right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's looking very good this tournament so far. I don't think he's dropped a map yet.
He has not dropped a map yet, no.
He's not. He could be looking to make a clean run versus Fantasy. He'll have to play Trap after this, which I feel is kind of going to be like his final boss in a sense. Because Trap is he is a very good Protoss player.
Really solid Protoss. All right, I got to step away for about 1 minute. I'll be right back, but I'll be back in here
Can we get you into the lobby first?
as soon as we can. I'm in there.
How are you? Okie dokie.
Yep, no problem. Okay, you're back.
All right, and we'll get on into the next game in just a second here. Okie dokie, here we go. We're getting on into the next series, or into the next match in this series. INnoVation versus SortOf is a fantastic match, and I mean, SortOf, it looks like his overall play was good, but who was it in chat? It was Cloudy pointed out that Widowmine hit like 20 Banes, and it did. That was a very good Widowmine. Maybe SortOf would have been able to thin out INnoVation enough to hold on after that. It was a bit brutal, though, INnoVation hitting absolutely everywhere with that drop. And up in the top left-hand side of the map, playing for Reciprocity Gaming. Or Team Reciprocity, it is INnoVation. And in the bottom right-hand side of the map, it is SortOf, playing for Team Cascade. Terran versus Zerg, the map is King's Cove. Hope you guys are enjoying these games. INnoVation's just stomping through. He's given us nothing really to make us doubt his form, none of those mistakes you sometimes see pro players make. And as a result, he's looking very good here. Okay. Eric's on the way for Inno. Standard opening from SortOf. Keep in mind that last game did start non-ideal with him going for that early sixlings that got shut down rather hard. INnoVation dealt with it pretty much perfectly with keeping that Reaper back at home. And that also is just a statement to his confidence, like keep everything back at home, play a straight up game. And his macro was just very good that game. He went for a fourth base relatively quickly, which is sort of a hill that some Terrans seem to be dying on as of late, continuing on with that, say, very quick third command center, or with that, say, just 3 base bio push, which has been worked on a lot by Zergs and Protoss in any other race. They're familiar with the Terran 3cc play, whereas the Terrans who've been going for a bit more of the macro seem to be doing very well for themselves. It's a bit of an adjustment in the meta, and you can really see it developing, as there was a time in which Terrans would just go 3cc or die. and that would be it. And some Terrans are making the adjustment now. Not necessarily every game. We still see those timing attacks, things like that. But let's see how this game's going to go. Reaper going to be jumping on into the main base of INnoVation now. Or Reaper jumping into the base is sort of, pardon me. Queen pops out. Should be able to shoo him away. Question in chat being asked, this is the first game of SortOf? Yes, this is SortOf's first match here. We moved things around a little bit. INnoVation just delaying the third base of SortOf for now. That queen has to come in to push this Reaper away. Of course, INnoVation being as much of a pain as possible. Just delaying this as long as he can. The hatchery is probably going to get up. The drone gets saved. But look at this. INnoVation is being a massive nuisance. That drone is going to have to transform back into that extractor. Queen on the high ground picks off the Reaper, which is nice. However, that was a bit of a delay from INnoVation, and now he's going to be running on in with 2 Hellions just right into the Zerg natural. There's a handful of Lings to help try and deal with this. No speed is done just yet. INnoVation does change his path, though, a little bit. He's not going to be able to get on in. The Queens show him to the door. Gotta familiarize myself with, like, the standard, like, what's the standard for, like, a match or a set? Like, of course, players play, like, a best of 3. What is a best of 3 called in the grand scheme of things in a tournament? There's a game, there's a match, there's a set. I gotta familiarize myself with those terms. I've done enough of these tournaments now. SortOf's coming on in here with his Overlord. He's gonna spot that INnoVation is making a lot of Hellions. No armory in sight yet for INnoVation, so no Hellbats necessarily. Meanwhile, a Stim is gonna be getting started. SortOf catches a glimpse of that, which is very nice for himself. And INnoVation just goes up to a 3rd CC. He seemed very confident in his macro play, gonna be doing that once again. And for now, just keeping up all these Hellions. Just, going for the 8 Hellions. I believe it was, I want to say maybe TY who did this. That might be a bit of a meta development there. Oh man, look at this. SortOf, he had to pull the drones away from the Liberator. INnoVation tries to sneak on in there. SortOf's taking a bit of damage. That Liberator now going to go into the main base. A Queen is waiting for it angrily.
Hey, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, looks like a little bit more damage being done here by INnoVation in Game 2 versus Game 1.
Yeah, he's poking SortOf a bit. So far, only 1 drone has died, actually.
All right, so not bad.
Oh, and I love this.
Oh, blocks. Blocks are so good. Yeah, really walling off against Hellions. I really feel like more Zergs should be doing this. Oh, there's the run by. Just coming on in. Nice target fire on that Bane.
Oh, all those Hellions are getting cleaned up, though, pretty much. Only 2 of them make it out. So once again, SortOf holds off without taking a lot of damage, but we'll see if it's going to be a similar situation in which when the macro machine of INnoVation kicks in, he just gets kind of destroyed like he did. But we'll see. How's SortOf going to play this?
Yeah, and I mean, we saw that in Game 1. SortOf was able to wreck every one of the Hellions that INnoVation had. Just completely took him out of the picture. And INnoVation just showed up the big army anyway and crushed it. So it's like you can do everything right versus INnoVation, but he's just so good. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Against a lesser Terran player, wiping out those Hellions would definitely slow them down, but against Inno, he just doesn't care.
Yeah, his macro is just so good. He's he did get up a 4th command center rather quick in that last game, and that's what allowed him to really go toe-to-toe with the Zerg supply-wise, as their numbers were very equal. SortOf, though, we'll see what he's going to go for. Is it going to be that sort of Spire play? Spire play can be a little bit weaker at times than, say, something like the Hydraling Bane, which has a bit more of a backbone to it. And maybe if SortOf had gone for Hydras in that last game, he wouldn't have just died to that attack, because the Hydras stand where the Mutas cannot really. It is a Spire once again, though, sort of committing to this style. Probably pretty familiar with it, as he is a Zerg player who's been around a fair while.
Yeah, once or twice. He's played this game. Yeah, Spire on the way. Same deal here from SortOf, making 10 Banelings. Centrifugal Hooks on the way. 1-1 finishing up here. And INnoVation this time, I'm not sure that he has the Widow Mines that he had in the last game. He has 0, nor is he producing any, but he is throwing down an extra factory, I assume, for those Widow Mines.
That's got a reactor on it, so...
Yeah, there it is.
Where's his other factory? Oh, they're right next to each other.
I was like, I'm pretty sure it was right there.
In plain sight. Okay.
Ah, the tank on the low ground is well positioned there. Lings, Banelings.
Oh, yeah.
Nice surround here.
Nice Baneling hit, too.
That was. We had to take out a chunk of those Banelings with that tank, but everybody is dead. The tanks are dead anyway. And the Spire's about to finish. Sort of doesn't... He's got maybe enough for 5 or 6 meters this time, not the 9 that he had in the last game.
Yeah, I think the Spire is a little bit quicker this game because SortOf... And we are seeing SortOf. He does seem to be a little bit stronger just in his unit counts, just in his economy, his timings a little bit, as he didn't open up with that early spawning pool. And the game does come back to that a little bit, as he just had a very strong macro opening. He's already planning a Ling counterattack. Of course, INnoVation is positioned here for now, but he's going to wait for an opportunity. The creep spread for SortOf is already looking good. He's getting up a 5th base here. And we'll see. INnoVation goes for a 4th command center.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just... like, Zerg's the macro race, and INnoVation's like, you know what? I can have 4 bases and maxed out at 10 minutes. No big deal. Everything is
very
cool.
Scary.
Yeah. My army is scarier than Zerg army.
It's got to be unnerving as a Zerg. It's like, okay, I survived the time. I'm in a pretty good spot. It's like, oh, those mines, not amazing connections. They get cleaned up.
And they're dead, which is a problem.
Yeah.
These medevacs need to be careful. There are roving bands of mutas around. I almost prefer Ling Baneling Corruptor against somebody like INnoVation, just because they can take Widowmine hits and keep moving.
Because INnoVation does love the Widowmines.
Yeah, well, everybody does. I mean, Polt was the same way back in Heart of the Swarm. Ling Bang Muta was the meta. I don't know if he's the first person to do it, but this whole Marine Marauder Widowmine medevac thing was just so hard to deal with for Zerg way back when.
Yeah, I think INnoVation, he was one of the quickest Terrans to realize it, how quick they build. Oh, bit of a shooting his own medivac there. But yeah, he was one of the Terrans that really queued into it. I think it was the first GSL after the patch, which made Widowmines build so quickly. He just had like so many Widowmines, just random, I think it was probably Creator's base or whatever, and just ran up with like 12 Widowmines and killed them.
Oh, decent Baneling hits there, though.
Baneling hits, yeah. Meanwhile,
and
the Mutas getting
there we
the
go.
natural here, working away on one of the E-bays. INnoVation already has his 2-2 done. This could delay his 3-3 a little bit, though. And
Certainly
INnoVation is still on his side of the map, except for these drops here, which are getting off. I realize that as soon as I say it. I'm like, oh, should have known it's INnoVation dropping all over the place. He's never just doing one thing.
That's what's insane about INnoVation. Again, a lesser Terran player, your opponent has 15 mutas out, you don't drop. You can't get them off. INnoVation's like, screw that, let's do this thing. We're dropping anyway, and it's working out pretty well for him so far. I mean, everything's getting cleaned up, but now INnoVation has been allowed to push on this side of the map. He's clearing out creep tumors, burrowing Widowmines at the front lines of his army. It is a 113 to 115 army supply, sort of looking okay right now. Widowmine doesn't do a whole lot there.
Oh, the mines,
Coming
they get
on.
decent connections. Nothing fantastic, though, so sort of
The
will
Thor
push
dies.
back. Yeah, nicely done by SortOf. Gonna eat a... No, survives the Widowmine shot. INnoVation has a lot of medivacs, but they are now vulnerable to these mutas. SortOf's actually just going for it. He does decide to retreat, though, realizing that he can't push into INnoVation, who's set up rather well there.
Yeah, that positioning was way too good for INnoVation. That high ground combined to the low ground and the cliff sort of pulls back. He hasn't lost a base yet, which is really big for him, and he's going into Hive Tech.
And he is queuing up a lot of creep tumors, which I love to see. Not neglecting that. INnoVation's cleaned up a fair bit of it. However, your creep, it can be between life and death for a Zerg player. Sort of staying on top of that is very important while doing all sorts of other things. Getting his Hive on the way. Moving forward now for a bit of aggression. He has a ton of Banelings, and when I say a ton, I mean 62.
Gosh.
SortOf's rolling forward. Widowmines get pretty good connections on some of the Banes, though, but they still find a lot of the Terran army. And SortOf might just be looking to crash forward and kill his opponent right now. Banelings are setting their sights on INnoVation's 4th base. That planetary under fire. SCVs are being killed off, and that base will go down. So many SCVs eat Banelings there. or sort of, is he going to take a map off INnoVation here and keep his dream alive?
I mean, he's in a pretty great spot, LaughNgamez. He's got Lings and Mutas coming into the reinforcing units from INnoVation, cleaning out Marauders, cleaning out Marines. This Thor is really keeping Inno alive right now, keeping those Mutalisks at bay. Zerglings getting cleaned up by Marines. Again, that 3-3 was delayed. It's not done yet. You want it done at this stage in the ZVT, but the fact that the engineering bay got picked off did slow it down. So SortOf takes down a base, wrecks a lot of the army there.
14 mutas on the way. He's going to be going up to, like, so many mutas there. 26 in total now.
That's amazing.
And with picking off INnoVation's 4th, he's just in a fantastic spot already. The timer is against INnoVation. He's in that Terran spot. I'm willing to bet he'll probably float his main at some point. But it's not a comfortable spot for the Terran right now. And oh man, this is a beautiful flock of mutas.
Cloudy in chat says, since when has SortOf been this good? And I think you mentioned it earlier. He's been for a very long time now.
Yeah,
consistently
and
playing against the best competition on Earth. Meanwhile, goodbye all the SCVs at this base. Every single one. Thank you very much.
SortOf
engineering,
their time is done, really, but
I mean, 2 minutes ago that would have been great. But no, too late for that.
No, still
INnoVation reestablishing his 4th right now, +2 flyer attack coming in from SortOf. Working on a +3 ground carapace, making these cracklings so good against bio.
Yeah, no
Ow,
no
ow,
adrenal
ow,
glands
ow.
just yet. Oh man, SortOf.
Ow,
wow.
ow.
Oh, ow
Ow.
is right. That was like 11 mutas that just died. Getting a little overconfident there, and suddenly INnoVation on par in supply, up on army supply, heading towards his opponent's side of the base. Did SortOf just overstep a little bit?
He engaged a little bit too far there, for sure, with the Mutalisks.
Yeah, he's making a ton of Banelings, but INnoVation has one scary army. Banelings get good connections on the Widow Mines there already, cleaning a fair few of them out, but INnoVation has a lot of bio still. Another round of Banelings finishes up for SortOf, and he's making as many Lings as he can. He's got to try and clean this up, though. Banelings rolling forward, connecting with INnoVation's army, which is on pretty quickly. Most of the bio has been cleaned up, and the Thors are pretty much abandoned.
No, pick him up! Pick him. Oh, picks up one of them, but the other one dies. A lot of them.
Look at this.
Rides there.
SortOf going for that counterattack. Were those Lings there like the whole game?
They've been hiding there for a while, yeah. And I think that's it. I think SortOf is going to take game 2. 25 SCVs remaining for INnoVation. I know we say Terran is not dead until they're dead, but this is a really dead Terran. The Thor gets not focused down, does get picked up and saved, but the 4th base going to die here again. SortOf has a 76 to 20 worker lead right now. More and more SCVs going down. The Mutalisks flying away with tissue regeneration, trying to survive, but getting picked off and picked off and picked off. Actually, Marines taking out a couple of Mutalisks there. So INnoVation trying to do what he can to stay alive here, but he's just so far down.
Oh, he is. Make no mistake. 20 SCVs. Mules are dropping there. That's the reason why INnoVation is still in this game right here, but even the power of mules. Yeah, INnoVation knows it's over. GG, SortOf. Ties it up, 1-1.
SortOf takes a game off INnoVation. I'm not sure anybody really predicted that coming into this. That was some fantastic play from the European Zerg, of which there are many, but SortOf, man, really establishing himself here. That was a great game.
3rd map, gonna be Port Alexander. And can SortOf do it? Because keep in mind, this is SortOf's first match in this group. If he takes down INnoVation, that's a very, very good start.
That's a major roadblock to him winning this thing removed entirely. Ooh. Yeah, GG there, man. It really... Just that first big engagement, that big one with the Lings and the Banelings and the Mutas, he got a lot of good damage, wiped out INnoVation's army. And from there, was just able to kind of keep his stuff alive. Whew.
All right.
GG says, INnoVation, let's go again. Check out the Matcherino link in the chat there. You can give free money to these players. The player pool can be increased by your participation with Matcherino. So check it out. Free money can be given just by subscribing to YouTube channels, following Twitter accounts. Free stuff doesn't cost you anything. And also the code AWAB gets you additional cash tossed in there as well. So map number 3 will be on Port Alexander, the ladder edition. And should be a good one. Chicken cheering for the Zerg in chat.
Or is he cheering for the Terran?
Oh, Boo
Yay,
Zerg!
Terran.
Ah, clearing against the Zerg. Good call.
Okay, here we are, though. Spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map. It's sort of.
And top left, you know him and love him as Inno.
Yeah. Can he do it? I mean, Chicken saying Boo Zerg, but sort of's been playing well this game. Like, that previous game was very, very well played.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a Ling Bling Muta win against a high-level Zerg in a very long time, so I was very impressed to see that. I would have liked to see maybe again some Corruptors in the mix, but sort of knew what he was doing. I feel like he lost a lot of Mutas in that game, but
He did.
he had the economy to replace them and never really lost that many drones or really even a single base.
Yeah, he had the leeway.
Yes, he could afford to. It's dangerous to be like, I can afford to lose Mutas versus INnoVation, but
Yeah, how many mutas did he lose there? He lost like 12 at one point. He was already in a very good spot there, but it's like, sort of, don't do this. Because it did look a little dicey for a minute there as INnoVation was up on supply briefly. SCV moving across the map for INnoVation. He's scouting. Showing respect to his opponent there.
yeah, this is what we're talking about. SCV Scout, guys, doesn't cost you. Man, Endgame made $140 million.
Oh no, you had to say it.
Opening day. Opening day.
Opening day. Didn't it make more because China had like a bajillion people watching it? Like it was a ridiculously big launch or whatever?
Yes,
Does
that
that include
helps.
China too?
I'm trying to decide if that is just domestic or if that's everybody.
I feel like that's gotta just be domestic. Like,
Yeah. It is. Yep, it's domestic numbers.
Lings running around. INnoVation's Reaper is going to work. Sort of though. Look at all those injured Lings, but they're not dead.
And they will regenerate because Zerg.
Yeah, they got that going for them. It's not the quickest. They're not as quick as Mutas.
Or not as quick as shield regeneration for Protoss,
That is true.
but they get all of it back, so that's the
They
trade-off.
do. A Zerg can be missed a leg and it'll just grow back. They're just space salamanders. So, in the previous two games, INnoVation has gone for a lot of, say, aggressive Hellion pokes. We'll see if he goes for more of the same here. We didn't really see a committed Hellbat attack or anything like that. And
I
I'm sorry, go on.
No, I just feel like sort of is ready for a Hellbat attack. I don't know.
Well, he's definitely ready for the light harassment that INnoVation went for. Because he shut that down expertly.
Yeah, both times, too.
Battle cruiser time.
But sort of makes a lot of queens anyway. That's how you handle it, is you just have like 5 queens and the BC can't do much. So we'll see. We'll see that
Guys,
sort of does have 2 queens already.
if you're getting rushed on the ladder right now and you're going to see a battle cruiser and you're like, oh man, these battle cruisers, they keep just teleporting into my base because they're such jerks. Watch SortOf, we'll see how he's going to deal with it. For now, he's got to deal with these Hellions. Has Link coming out, getting on top there, and he's done a good job defending from them so far. He's got 1 queen in his main, needs to pick off those injured Hellions because they're going to start frying up some of these drones. Hellion's lethal until it's dead. Looks like 4, 5 drones go down.
Okay. That was a little bit lucky on INnoVation side, keeping those Hellions alive with a very low HP for as long as they were. But I think we're okay. I think sort of's fine. The battle cruiser is on the way. The queen count stands at 5. That's what I'm talking about. 5 queens is enough to chase that thing away. If it teleports in, it can't teleport home after you damage it, so it has to flee. I see sort of handling this perfectly. I really do.
INnoVation briefly started Yamato Cannon, but then decided to cancel it. It just takes so long to research these days. So, Terrans, if they're going to go for Yamato, they got to start it pretty much right away. And so a lot of them do skip it. They just use the battlecruiser for the weird harassment tool, the very expensive but very powerful harassment tool. Not all... I mean, it's really interesting how the battlecruiser can just teleport in there and it's like, I'm a battlecruiser, you gotta deal with me. And there he goes.
I am big and
There's that
beefy.
click.
Ding! And here it is. And you can't really stop it from, you know, it has to kill something. It's a battlecruiser, so it does. But that's what I'm talking about. 5 queens, shut it down.
INnoVation is going for another battlecruiser as well. Sort of already has a Spire on the way. You get a couple of Corruptors. Look at that Spire placement, by the way.
Sure, why not?
I've seen a Zerg do this once or twice before. Maybe it was SortOf. He's like, it's a Spore. INnoVation's moving across the map. That's going to be looking to go for a bit of pressure. Is SortOf prepared for this. He might have been thrown off a little bit by these battlecruisers. Now there's tanks and marines rolling on up. Of course, there's no stim for them. So SortOf is bringing his queens forward. A lot of HP on those queens so they can do a lot of buffering, stand quite well in a fight, and they will push INnoVation back.
Yeah, I mean, he's finding damage here, but I'm not entirely sure it's enough.
SortOf has stopped making drones. He hasn't started a 4th base just yet, whereas INnoVation is already floating over his 3rd. And look at that, battlecruiser teleports on in. So INnoVation is looking to bully SortOf, and he might be setting his sights on this cliff here. I saw TY use this the other day to great effect versus Rogue, and there we go, bunkers are going up. This is what TY did with added battlecruisers, so can SortOf deal with this. He's got the queens, he's got the Spore, but the tanks really allow the battlecruisers to fight this. And now the Lings are going to try and get on top there, but the tanks do focus fire the Banelings, and suddenly SortOf could be in a bit of trouble now. These tanks have bit off a position, and I'm not sure that SortOf can do anything about it. This is tough.
Yeah, this is really great. Out of INnoVation, I'm super impressed. There are Mutalisks on the way, and I would have imagined Corruptors are what you want, but...
Yeah, I guess he wants them versus the units in general or something. INnoVation has committed a fair bit to this attack. You delay everything by going for battlecruisers and tanks in a push like this. However, I mean, he's got Stim on the way back at home. It's going to be a ways off, but 4 barracks are getting up, so he's just going to be hitting that Terran production all of a sudden, and his supply might just balloon too much for SortOf, who's got a fairly delayed 4th base. Ling's getting in towards the 3rd base, going to pick off an SCV or 2. Oh man, SortOf's still got these tanks set up.
He's like, well, I'm never taking gas here ever again, I guess.
I'll just take him over here already, and he actually is.
Oh, here we go. He's setting up to go for it, though. He's coming in with the Lings, the Banelings, and the Mutalisks. Banelings getting a decent hit off on those Marines. Sure, but the battlecruiser is doing work. One has to jump out. 3 kills on this BC. The Queens are trying to chase away the BC. The tank does get cleaned out, and SortOf dislodges INnoVation from this position, moving wounded Mutalisks away before jumping to safety.
Yeah, INnoVation teleports. It didn't hang around too long. He just says, your micro and your mute is away. I'll just get out of here. SortOf looks like he's going to be trying to start up a 5th base. However, INnoVation, his attack there clearly did throw the Zerg player off a fair bit. If we take a look at the upgrades, INnoVation is ahead. If we take a look at the creep spread, it's not very good for SortOf, and the army supply is fantastic for the Terran. So SortOf could be in a lot of trouble now. This Terran, he's moving forward, he's scanning, he's clearing up. SortOf's creep. SortOf needs to get everything out that he can.
Army supply definitely favoring the Terran, which is bad for SortOf.
On the 2 BCs are here still as well.
Yeah, that jump ability really increases their survivability. Banelings coming in. They do have centrifugal hooks. INnoVation is engaging on creep here. He spread his Marines.
Okay, SortOf's going for it. Banelings
here he
are clumped
goes.
up, but they are going to find the Marines, it would seem. The tanks, are they going to go down? It looks like some of them will, but does SortOf have enough? There's still Marines and Marauders on the ground. The Queens are fighting the battlecruisers. Is there just too much Terran, though? Is there too much INnoVation?
Yeah, sure looks like it. The battlecruisers are unopposed. They are not even brought down into the red, and that's your good game. INnoVation on the back of battlecruisers takes the 2-1 victory.